All right there. Welcome back, everybody. Oh my God, we had a crash. Our system crashed. But thank you guys for being back. Thank you, Stunner. Yes, I am back. And this was perfect timing too, because we were getting ready to do a commercial break anyway, so it worked out great for editing later, right? So yeah, welcome back. Thank you guys for being here and hanging in there. We are still, let's see, I think we are still at our target amount of just over 500. We're at 520. Let me see. Yes, we are still at $520. Thank you guys so much for the contributions. We're entering our second hour. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to take a look at a very cool video that was done by CaptainSeriousFun talking about aliens. Okay, so let's take this commercial break. And even though that was kind of a commercial break that you guys just took now, and we'll be right back. Okay. Okay, gang. Subscribers, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging in there with the technical difficulties, but I appreciate you guys being here. We're getting ready to watch a video that was done by CaptainSeriousFun. As you guys know, he is his own streamer in his own right and puts out some really great and thoughtful videos. And he just recently did one about aliens, but in light of Star Citizen. And so we're going to be talking about aliens and gameplay and stuff like that. And what do you guys think aliens should be like in the game? I know we've got the Banu and the Kurthak and the whoever else we got, this Jihan. But we're going to go into a little bit more stuff. He's got a really in-depth video on this topic. So we're going to be taking a look at that in just a hot second. Okay. So we are, let's see, 9 seconds out. Let's see what my buddy Kai is telling me. He's sending me a message here. Oh, okay. There we go. Alrighty then. Let me put this here, put that there. Okie dokie. And we are back. Thank you guys for being here again today on Soul Voices. I'm GriffinGamingRPG. We are doing a fundraiser for our good friend Buster the Destroyer. She has not been receiving any income from her job for over 30 days. And we're just kind of trying to send a little love offering to her to help her out so she can kind of make it through this tough time that she's having right now with employment. So hopefully you guys will be able to hang out with us for the next couple hours and enjoy our conversations that we're talking about. We're going to do a quick, well, you know what, since we did that, we won't do the commercial break. Let's just go ahead and get into the video. We've been progressing through what's been going on in the Star Citizen community. Starting out at the beginning, we talked about CIG, what they could deliver from CitizenCon till today. Thank you, Fast Cart. I see you're gone. Thanks, buddy. Have a great one. Thank you for being here, as always. Fast Cart's out and visiting with his family out on the East Coast right now, so he's just saying good night because he has to leave. I guess he's doing some family stuff today. So we started out talking about CitizenCon and the 6 months since then, what's been happening. And then after that, we started talking about update 3.23, which dropped yesterday in the live server, so everybody's able to play that now. And then we just finished talking about Invictus, which is coming up this week, starting on the 17th, talking about the UEE Navy's Expo and what we're expecting to see there. Now, after that comes Alien Week. In last year's Alien Week, I was a little disappointed. I was hoping for a little bit more. I know the Santakiai was on the blocks at that time, and we were hoping to see that, but we didn't see it right then. But I was just kind of expecting something else, you know, something different to pop up, and nothing popped up. And so I was a little disappointed. I know we got the Sayulan later on and stuff, and that was great. A lot of us are still looking for the Gatak, the Raylan to come out. But I'm still looking for some more stuff, some more alien-oriented things. There's also been conversations about what are aliens like in the Star Citizen universe. And most of them that we've seen so far are bipedal. They're humanoid-like in some form. One looks like a tortoise kind of thing. Another one's a bird-like kind of thing. Another one's a lizard-looking kind of thing. And another thing, the Banu is a thing kind of looking thing on two legs, right? You know, some type of tree. I don't know. But anyway, the question is, what do you think alien life should be like in general, as well as in Star Citizen? And some of us have been asking for something that is like something that we don't expect. I ain't talking about because it's got 12 eyes or something. But I'm talking about something that is really imaginative and different. What would it be like? There's been very few even science fiction films that have ever really represented an alien in such a way that, you know, I mean, you really felt like Alien. I mean, even in Alien was kind of a weird thing because it was kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of things, like a bunch of nightmares all together, but it was still bipedal. Well, it kind of ran on fours, I guess. I don't know. It had a tail. It's still familiar in some form. But what could be created that's something that we just don't expect? I mean, something that our mind's eye just can't conceive of. And so anyway, make a long story short, we're going to watch this video by CaptainSeriousFun. It's a little less than 20 minutes, but it's a really good video. And he pulls some great information from the Star Citizen lore and information there. So let's tune into that. And I hope you guys enjoy this. Let's, where is it at? This was Invictus. Here it is here.
As we use our enjoyment of gaming to build beloved community, I like to always begin and end in gratitude. So thanks for checking out this video. So, video number 4. What do you think today's Serious Fun is about?
Let me guess.
It's about aliens.
What? Aliens?
It's aliens, it has to be.
What?
From outer space, an alien.
Alien, you mean extraterrestrials?
Right. Somebody said alien.
After New York, aliens. Come on.
I'm not running a story about aliens walking among us.
Problem is, not everyone shares our policy of being open with the aliens.
We don't even know who's alien and who's not.
Well, what does an alien look like, Jack Bruno?
Do you know what aliens look like? They look like little green people with antennas and laser guns that take me to your leader, Earthlings. Ooh.
Let's rule out aliens for now and concentrate on what we know.
So to start us off, why don't you tell us a little bit about what alien races we know of are there in the Star Citizen universe?
Well, there's the Xi'an, who we were in a Cold War with for a while. They're an ancient species. They live really long. They're about 100 years ahead of us, technologically speaking, so their ships are pretty cool. They do stuff that ours don't do.
Zigzag.
They zigzag. They go vertical. They're kind of organic inspired.
Okay.
There's the Banu, who are our first contact with aliens. We ran into a Banu fugitive in a system who totally told us that he was an all right dude and there's nothing to worry about.
Shady Banu?
He was not telling the truth exactly.
I feel like that's a setup for a joke. Yeah. A Shady Banu walks into a bar.
They like scavenging technology. They like selling things that they've found. So Banu tech is kind of interesting because it could be a bunch of things crammed together.
So we got Banu and Xi'an. Who else are out there?
The Teveran, who are a species that we went to war with a couple of times, eventually defeated them so decisively that they threw away their own culture, and now they are assimilated into UEE.
That's victory, I guess.
Yeah. And we have the Vandul, who we don't know much about, but we know they're jerks.
They don't like us.
They don't like us at all. They attack us for no apparent reason. We think that they might be scavenging our stuff like locusts and then moving on. We know they have really big, impressive ships. They have dangerous weapons. They used to be really easy to chase out, but then one day they got into their heads that they were going to take our systems whether they liked it or not. So we've lost a few to them.
What does it mean to be alien? We're all familiar with the different intelligent alien races depicted in Star Citizen's universe. The entrepreneurial Banu, the inscrutable Xi'an, the warlike Vandul, and the enigmatic Teveran, almost all of whom abandoned the totality of their own culture in the face of defeat. While diverse in their cultures and psychologies, these races are still rendered through a very human lens. They are bipedal humanoid forms with recognizable, even understandable language, societies, and ways of being. But in this video, I want to push the boundaries. I want to invite Cloud Imperium Games and all of you to truly imagine what alien could mean, to envision intelligences and modes of existence radically unlike anything we've conceived of. On Earth, the evolutionary path followed very specific rules and constraints. Life is based on carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, with DNA and RNA as the genetic code. Intelligence emerged through bilateral symmetric forms well suited for our environments. But the universe is astoundingly vast. What if entirely different rules and environmental conditions gave rise to intelligences utterly divergent from this path? Not just exploring new varieties of humanoid forms, but imagining alien in the deepest sense. Life forms with biologies and psychologies so incomprehensible, they shatter our whole framework of alienness itself. Other significant sci-fi have done generally a poor to average job at doing this. It is the rare book, such as Rebecca Orr's Becoming Alien trilogy or Becky Chambers' The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, or even Ian Banks' Culture series that seeks to even try to begin to imagine the authentic other outside humanness. Let's use our own creativity to speculate. What if intelligence is developed around non-carbon chemistries, based on elements like silicon or ammonia or even metallic or nuclear materials, with genetic codes and reproduction methods totally divorced from DNA and RNA as we know them? What if, instead of individualistic intelligences, dominant life forms existed as interconnected hive minds, vast group consciousnesses, inhabiting fleets of drones, each one just a cellular vessel in service of the whole? Their priorities and values could be oriented around pure logic, the pursuit of knowledge, or simply perpetual exploration and movement across our cosmos. Imagine no centralized unitary being. Or imagine evolved bacteria that, even without a nuclear membrane, have evolved some other form of hive-mindedness beyond binary fission, or because of it. Their sensory experience of reality could be completely disassociated from vision, hearing, or conventional senses that we're familiar with. Perhaps their understanding flows through high-dimensional planes we cannot begin to comprehend. They may not conceive of individuality or self at all in the same manner. Some of these speculative intelligences may not even reside in biological vessels as we know them. They could be forms of sentient computational plasma, or disembodied software minds that transcended all physical form, dark energy condensates, ones that model entire universes in their own networks. Truly, the scope of possibilities is only limited by our own limited imaginations. The point of exploring these ideas is not to say that they definitely or even likely exist somewhere across the stars. Rather, it is a creative exercise to break us free of the innate limits and anthropocentric bias in how we currently frame alienness, to redefine our very conception of what alien intelligence and existence could be. In this video, I'll focus on the things we know and don't know about one currently undefined, and as a result, currently open to speculation, race in Star Citizen, the Kurthak. From the Galactopedia, found in the ARC space station, Tyak-1 Tyak system.
The Kurthak are a spacefaring civilization indigenous to an unknown area of space. Little is known about them other than their involvement in a period of turmoil in Xi'an history called the Spirit Wars. The Xi'an have strict laws in place preventing the populace from interacting with the Kurthak and have refused to fulfill information requests from humans. While some human explorers have made attempts to locate jump points into Kurthak territory, none have so far been found. In 2943, the UEE Senate discussed establishing contact with the Kurthak, but ultimately decided against potentially jeopardizing diplomatic relations with the Xi'an.
Other discussions include this segment from the news magazine Showdown we found from February 2943.
Welcome to tonight's episode of Showdown. Tonight we're joined by Mark Coe, SSN's foreign policy consultant.
Glad to be here.
At the start of this quarter's session, the Senate officially opened discussions as to whether the United Empire of Earth should attempt to establish relations with the Kurthok. They've been a hot topic since their existence was revealed late last year. Due to their tumultuous history with the Xi'an Empire, the issue has been a political and logistical minefield. So Mark, we'll start out with the basic question. Should the UEE attempt to contact the Kurthok?
Absolutely. Frankly, I'm stunned that the government's just getting around to discussing this now. The Kurthok are a sentient, spacefaring race, and we know next to nothing about them. We should, at the very least, attempt diplomatic relations.
Unfortunately, it's not that simple. We're not talking about the Banu or even the Vandul. The Kurthok systems are truly, truly distant from us, and on the other side of the Xi'an Empire. What are we going to tell the Xi'an? Hey, don't mind us. We're just passing through to try and broker a trade deal with your sworn enemy. I'm sure that'll go over well.
They, the Kurthok, and the Xi'an, aren't at war now. Why should the Xi'an care? I think you're being too dismissive of our new compatriots in nascent areas of shipbuilding, industry, and commerce. Yeah, they have a long lifespan, so there are still Xi'an veterans of the Spirit Wars, but I think we can all agree that the Xi'an, as a race, simply don't run on emotion.
Fine. And fair enough, so they won't overreact. But won't they absolutely see it as a strategic disadvantage to have two civilizations, one civil but tense and the other hostile, surrounding them?
Again, I think you're underestimating the Xi'an. Sure, we aren't the best of friends, but you're treating them like it was the height of the Messer era? I think it's silly not to open up a channel of communication with another species with the hope of exchanging ideas, history, and culture simply because it might annoy the Xi'an.
Well, sorry, but this is diplomacy for real. There aren't a lot of opportunities for takebacks, and importantly...
Are you serious?
I'm not done.
Diplomacy is all about takebacks. What are...
Please let me finish. The Xi'an Emperor has repeatedly stated that the Kurthok are an enemy of the Xi'an. If we attempt to contact the Kurthok, the Xi'an are going to factor that into their relations with us, which will ratchet up their military presence along our border, even as a precaution, which will cause us to match them. Next thing we know, we're back in a mirror state. And I'm still not hearing a solution outside of sheer espionage regarding crossing Xi'an territory to even get to the Kurthok.
So you're suggesting that we just ignore them?
Oh, not at all. I think we should go through the Xi'an.
What do you mean?
We let the Xi'an know our intention to contact the Kurthok, make them part of the process.
You said yourself that Emperor Kurai regards the Kurthok as enemies of the Xi'an Empire. You really think they'd go for that?
Maybe. Maybe not. But it's one way to communicate without alienating them. Who knows? Maybe it'll help smooth relations between the two of them.
I don't know, and neither do you. And because we don't know, I'm going to disagree. It sounds like you're opening a large window of opportunity for the Xi'an to compromise diplomacy.
Who's underestimating them now?
Well, if you're using them as middlemen, and it's in their best interest to keep us from establishing a beneficial relationship with the Kurthok, why wouldn't they manipulate the situation to their advantage? Hell, I'd be shocked if they didn't do that.
But it's, at a minimum, a solution to the astrographic issue of their location.
I suppose, but it's naive to think that the Xi'an will forget centuries of war and animosity and suddenly play nice.
It's better than no contact at all. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you know what time it is. Time for controversial lobbyist Cornel Mars to join us. Mars made all the headlines recently with his unique perspective on the Kurthok situation. So join us as we reload for another showdown.
Unknown alien race, unknown biology, spirit wars. The possibilities for the Kurthok boggle the mind. Star Citizen is a portal to envision such possibilities. So envision with me a Kurthok race that would engage in a spirit war. Instead of being confined to planetary bodies at all, maybe the Kurthok have emerged at a subatomic level. Self-replicating clouds or lattices of plasma capable of harnessing energy from the quantum vacuum itself. Unconstrained by biological processes tied to mass, these beings could likely exist in high radiation environments we would find extraordinarily hostile. And what of their genetics and reproduction? Carbon-based life utilizes DNA and RNA to encode biological instructions across generations, but an entirely different biosphere may have evolved entirely different systems for transmitting hereditary data and traits, perhaps based on exotic forms of crystalline patterning or the like. Or the Kurthok may not even reproduce through direct biological duplication, but rather ultimate forms of technological transcendence, using, as one example, self-replicating nanoscale constructor clouds to perpetually redesign and reform themselves across cosmic timelines. The Xi'an might, rightly, truly fear them. These are just seeds of speculative thought, of course, strange fruits born from the possibilities inherent in existence's sheer vastness. But the point is not to say any of these alien permutations definitively exist somewhere out there in Star Citizen's galaxy or our own. It's to rupture the innate anthropocentric limits in how we currently frame the potentials of alienness in the cosmos and in Star Citizen. Because if there is one arrogance we must continue shedding as an intelligent species, it is the assumption that our current experiences and categories of existence are the only valid and intelligible modes, that the very concepts we've constructed and derived, life, intelligence, consciousness, purpose, are the full extent of the possible or permissible configurations that could arise from this universe. Star Citizen is a gateway and a canvas to envision such possibilities, a chance to expand our perspectives and our philosophical horizon into the furthest reaches of alienness we can currently fathom. Not just to populate a sci-fi universe with new cannon fodder species or slight cultural variants on terrestrial life, but to truly shatter our blinkered conventions and give form and voice to the incredible alienness beyond alienness that might, I would argue that must, encompass the deepest and unexplored domains of existence itself. Because make no mistake, as we expand our exploration outward, in life and in game, our hope is that we will eventually encounter entities that confound our existing categories. And only by training our focus and bridging those abstract chasms of alternateness can we hope to meaningfully make contact and survive those encounters, let alone process or be fully aware of them. Perhaps this all sounds like bizarre and unnecessary philosophical navel-gazing, but it is exactly this speculative openness, this willingness to conceive the unconceivable that lies at the heart of all great discovery and transcendence. Virtually every revolution in human knowledge and consciousness began by shattering some presumed cardinal truth, some dogmatic framework we had mistaken for the full picture. The greatness of any civilization, in the end, is measured by its cosmological curiosity, its appetite for illuminating new frontiers of existence rather than staying confined in parochial knowns. And sci-fi realms like Star Citizen provide perfect arenas for conducting those expansive thought experiments, for conditioning ourselves to unlock from our ingrained perceptual prisons. So writers and artists and designers and programmers at CIG, I challenge you to unleash the fullness of your professional powers upon this universe and universe sim. Dismantle our conventional templates, explode our figurative and cognitive categories, and construct universe simulation spaces to steep us in new phenomenologies of the alien. Bring us beings and entities and experiences so primordially foreign, so stripped of terrestrial analogy, that they trigger ontological vertigo. For only in doing so can we expand the cosmic navigational skills required to brave the true hyper-alien thresholds, which inevitably loom ahead. And to all you citizens, players, and dreamers out there, bring me your most delirial xenogenic longings. Share with me below the utterly alien that's been gestating in your skulls. Inscribe us new xenocologies to rip our minds free from our anthropic horizons. I'll explore the most fascinating and expansive of these visions in future videos, for it is our boundless duty to keep escalating these alien thoughtscapes so that someday we may encounter the truly other with open-minded awe rather than sheer, uncomprehending panic. The Mysterium Tremendum awaits. If you've gotten this far, you've made it to the end, and you definitely care about this Star Citizen project the way I do. Maybe, just maybe, you care about this channel as well. As CaptainSeriousFun across the net, we'll use the YouTube platform to explore big questions in Star Citizen and in gaming as a whole with longer form content. We'll use Patreon to curate community through our org, a pretty cool org, and through early access to these videos. Use Twitter for hot space opinions, and use Twitch Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time to simply play the games we love. My hope is to hear from you in the comments, and that you'll like, subscribe, and connect. Nothing is more important, particularly in this moment in our lives, than authentic dialogue and connection. That we seek to value each other enough to hear each other out. That takes effort. So thanks again for being here, and take care.
Alrighty. That was CaptainSeriousFun. Ontological vertigo. You're the only person I know who would have put those two words together in my life. What a great video. Very thoughtful, very well done. Kudos to you. Very, very cool and challenging for us, those of us who are gamers, those of us who are into science fiction, to think about what we think about what alien life might be about. So I want to know if anybody wants to come in and share and talk about this real quick. Right now we do have certain alien races in the game. We know we've got the Banu, we've got the Xi'an, we've got the bird folks. What do they call it? I can't think of the bird folks' names. Y'all help me out. What's the bird folks' names? How come I can't think of their names? The bird folk. Who are the bird folks, y'all? The Teverin. Thank you. And I've been saying Tavarin, and I remember hearing the lore people say Teverin. So I'm gonna have to change my pronunciation of that. The Teverin. All right. And then there's been this Kurthak. And we haven't really known very much about them. And so, there's this exploration of what this race is. Now, evidently they're mortal enemies, or were mortal enemies to the Xi'an. And I've always kind of felt that there should be a bigger fish out there other than the Vanduul, right? We were always talking about the Vanduul. But we've always wondered, like, why are the Vanduul pressing into other areas, right? Are they pressing into other areas because somebody is pressing in on them? Are they just locusts that go everywhere, or is there an issue? So let me bring in some people here. Bring in Kai Zin real quick. Starjump Grim, good to see you. Thank you for showing up and being here. Real quick before I go any further, we're in our third hour, second hour, third hour. Yeah, we are doing our fundraising effort for Buster the Destroyer. Many of you guys know that recently she had some issues with her employment. She's been working for a month without any income. And so we as a group decided that we would kind of reach out in a gesture of love to her to raise money for her so that she can deal with bills and life and all that other stuff. We're not trying to take care of her lifestyle and all that other stuff. We're just trying to say, hey, we care about you. We want to do what we can to help you. So as you guys see, we've been raising money. We're shooting for a target of $1,000 within this 4-hour live stream. We are already past the halfway mark at $545. Let me refresh. Let me see, did it change? $570. You guys are amazing. $570. We are past the halfway threshold, and we're halfway through the show. We could reach that $1,000 mark. So hopefully you guys will be able to. For those of you who just got here, check out the link that's on the page. I will put that out here again for you. Take a look at the little read that's there. And yeah, if you can do something to help Buster out, it would be greatly appreciated. And thank you for you guys just even being here today to show a moral support for her. Okay, there's the link right there in the chat for those of you who may want to take a look at it. There's a barcode on the screen. You could take a screenshot of that too, and that'll take you directly to the GoFundMe page. Okay, let's go ahead and start this conversation up about aliens. Let me bring in Kai's in. Kai, my friend Kai, you there?
What's up, good brother? How you doing?
Kai guy, good man.
All right, first off, it's pronounced Tavarin. They say Teverin because they're British. And when the British demonstrate the ability to beat the Germans in a war, we'll let them dictate how things are pronounced. Until then, it's Tavarin.
It's Tavarin.
Hashtag America. All right.
Okay.
So, yeah, one of the things that we always think about, because we grew up in this golden age of sci-fi where, there was so much great television and movies and stuff about all kinds of aliens. And the fact is that they were all on a budget. So when Star Trek is putting out 8 million aliens a week and they got a real limited budget, they're like, well, we'll give these ones pointy ears. We'll give these ones a messed up forehead. These ones over here will have some extra eyebrows, whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is in reality, when you start thinking about like noted futurists and scientists have speculated on what the difference of an ammonia-based life form or a silicon-based life form or different, different things from different areas. One of the biggest things that humans tend to overlook in our sort of, how do I want to say it, in our human-centric thought process is actually a bigger thing even than, how many eyes, how many mouths, how many legs, how many arms. It's just the very nature of scale. So to bring out one example, Sir Frederick Hoyle, the noted British astrophysicist, a Don of Cambridge, I think, back in the day, and one of like a brilliant writer who did both groundbreaking work in astrophysics, but also wrote some sci-fi. He wrote a book back in 1957 called The Black Cloud. The Black Cloud is it's a novella that dictates sort of Earth's first contact with an alien species. And in this scenario, the species was a cloud that was about the size of the sun. It was a large black cloud that was like solar scale, like, the size of something significant in the solar system that was coming through and sort of was going to feed off of the sun. And that was going to basically kill all life on Earth because as it came close, first it was cooking the Earth because light was from the sun was radiating off of it and coming onto us. And then as it went farther in and came between us on the sun, it was turning into like a nuclear winter times 1,000 situation where we were going to whatever.
Right.
And these scientists had to come up with a brilliant way of using radio waves to begin a process of communicating with the sentient cloud and trying to negotiate it with it of like, hey man, please, I understand that you're hungry, but you're going to kill all of us.
Right.
And the cloud was shocked because the cloud was like, whoa, it never occurred to my species that little tiny specks on a planet with an atmosphere and heavy gravity could evolve. Like, that's just a mind blower. And it's so brilliant because it demonstrates like, we think we have it figured out, but even when you really think about it, you're nowhere near the beginning of whatever. So stuff like that, or Astrophage from what's his name, the guy who did The Martian. He did a book called Project Hail Mary. Astrophage are these small, like amoeba type things that also feed on sunlight and wipe out alien races. You've got Rocky from that book, the creature that was like a small little metallic spider, super dense, that grew up on a planet that had no vision. They had they lived on a completely dark planet. And they literally never developed eyes. They use like sort of sonar type whatever. Like, there's so many things that we don't even begin to think about. So Black Intellect, or what's he called now, CaptainSeriousFun. Amazing video, really cool, and I'm psyched with all the stuff they can do in Star Citizen with this going forward. I'm gonna shut up now and make room for other people.
Later, all right, bro. Buddy. Thank you, man. All right, Kai, bringing it. Thank you so much, buddy. Let's bring in Admiral Kusanagi and see what his thoughts are about this video and aliens. Yeah, Admiral.
Oh boy. I mean, I know this is something that Kai and I agree on, and we know that, and you mentioned it, is that we think that the Vandal are getting pushed by the Kathak. I also think maybe this is a reason that the Xeon may be pushed for a peace accord with the humans, because maybe they wanted to
some help,
put more of their defenses up on their borders, and then kind of keep that, because they know, like, okay, we know what the humans have, but this we're getting kind of our butts handed to us over here, so we want to just like settle the human thing quick and deal with them. Because I mean, it's interesting because the Xeon can trade with humans, the Xeon can trade with Vanduul,
right?
And yet we're trying to like get with the people that they absolutely hate. Like that's why I was like, toss this guy out an airlock, and this guy's about to get us killed. So that's the way I look at that. I mean, what they look like, it would be interesting to see, because I think eventually we'll find out.
Yeah, and considering that the Xeon are technologically more advanced than we are, and yet they have issue with these folk. I did like the little intercourse there saying, well, what are we supposed to do? Just skip over them and say, excuse us while we're on our way to the Krthak. I thought that was kind of like, no, you don't really want to do that. I've wondered, I don't know if you remember, and I'm glad that Kai mentioned about, and so did CaptainSeriousFun, different forms of life. Remember, for those of you all who aren't as old as I am, in the original series of Star Trek, there's an episode where they run into a creature that is in mines. These guys are doing mining. Remember that? Yeah. And and everybody assumed that it was just some monster, that it was just some, they had to kill it. That's all they knew, is that they had to kill it because this thing was attacking their workers. And only to find out that this thing was silicon based. It was a entirely different type of creature. This thing could move through rock like you and I. They said like you and I move through air. That's how this thing would pass through rock. And ultimately found out that this was a communicating creature. Spock connected with it and found out that this thing was the last of its race, and it was just defending itself and defending its eggs. And so, that was a very imaginative way of just saying that life could be something different than what we expect or what we call life. It's very easy to not, really realize that there could be other aspects of how we look at life. And so I thought that was a great one from way back in the 1960s, to the point of what we've been talking about so far. Do you think that CIG will introduce any other races, Admiral? Like, will there be somebody else other than the ones that they've out? Will they surprise us with something as a part of maybe exploration, that there's some other group out there that we're like, oh my God, they never mentioned these folks before?
Yeah, I mean, as the universe expands, or our universe expands, they can certainly have like other races that we could find, be the first one of. Maybe the Xeon didn't, like, you didn't need to talk to them, or you didn't need to know about them. They're a nobody, or maybe they didn't want the competition. So they just were like, they're at least 3 systems away from even finding these people. We got a good couple hundred years till we have to worry about the humans even knowing about them. Something like that. It would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Certainly, I'd rather not see the alien. We talk about, when we look at bipedal, like the Alien, the movie from Aliens.
Right.
I think about the latest, kind of like the newer one, when they find the alien ship and all the like black liquid, and it kills one of the alien founders, and it was like this giant squid thing. And I'm like, I kind of see more of that maybe happening in Star Citizen, more exotic like aliens that would just like, you don't know where the head is at. Like, where is the head? How am I feel like I'm in serious threat here. I need to get out of this location because I'm just not
outside
sure
of my league.
That's what should be happening.
I agree. We need to have something like that out there. I agree 100%, and not just something that's something intelligent. You know what I mean? Something that actually is intelligent and not just reacting from like a defense measure. But this thing actually it's intelligent. It has a form of intelligence.
Remember that like Star Citizen commercial where it was like the guy was like kind of like walking through what you could say is like wheat fields, but they were like kind of like a circular, like the twisty curl. I was like, I wouldn't be in there. Something out there, grab me and then just soak me up like that monster from Star Wars that devours you over.
There's something out there luring you in, right? I got you.
Just like, oh, come on in.
It's nice and pretty. Yeah,
it's like a Venus flytrap type thing.
Exactly.
You look at life, here on Earth with like Venus flytraps or some type of squid or aquatic creature or something like that. Or it's just that's the way life gets by. And then, but that again, most of us, life is breathing oxygen of some type, or
Right.
if you're under the water, it's different.
Okay.
But it's those other things. And we know, whales used to have opposable thumbs. That's how they were able to travel through space in those giant pods. But they lost them because Earth is too cool, and they lost the opposable thumbs. And
All right, Admiral. Thanks.
Lost their books. They fell to the ocean floor.
All right. Thank you, Admiral. All right. The episode I was thinking about for Star Trek was, I know you said the Cloud Miners Pops, but it was the Devil in the Dark, which I find interesting that right away, from a humanity standpoint, anything that's not like us, it's the devil in the dark, right? It's the thing that we're afraid of right away. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be afraid of some things. I'm just saying there's a natural tendency for humans to something that's not like us to immediately take a more cautious side or negative side. I don't say cautious, negative side to it, because it's different. There's something about us that when something's different, we automatically kind of throw the wall up. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more. We've got the author of the video that we just watched joining us. CaptainSeriousFun is here, and obviously we love to hear from him and any thoughts he has about this topic. So, Cap, are you there?
I'm here, Griff. How are you?
I'm good. Great video again.
Well, first of all, thank you for playing that. That was exciting. I went out for a walk with my wife in the middle of this thing, and I come back to hear my own voice. That was weird. But I appreciate it. No, I just wanted to jump on and say, one of the things that struck me while doing the video was, and, we without the video, across life and living, we have these types of conversations all the time. What's the craziest alien life form you could think of and things like that. Had these conversations growing up, etc. You brought up the alien race, the Horta, from Star Trek, the original series. As an example, what struck me while making the video was how fun and interesting and what a wonderful opportunity it must be to be in the room where it happens at CIG.
Yeah.
To create space for these conversations and to say, to have Chris Roberts essentially say, all right, I've had some alien races in mind, but, what do we want to do with the Kurthak? What do we want to leave space for with them? And to your point, do we have any other things that we want to do? Do we want to have folks from an exploration standpoint have a chance to discover other sentient races, or will they just discover other fauna? Will we be in control of what sentient races are in the space? And so, to zero in on the Kurthak because of how much we don't know was really fun. And my hope, as I said in the video, my hope is that CIG uses at least that one opportunity with that one sentient race to go crazy, to just go crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And to do stuff that we would not see. Like, I don't want to see the Kurthak. Well, they're going to do what they want to do, but I don't want to see the Kurthak on two legs.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see something else entirely.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say is that I do believe, and this comes from, we've talked about this before, that the Star Citizen community is connected in a lot of ways, and it's differentiated in a lot of ways. And one of the ways it's different is that you have people who have experience with previous Chris Roberts games and people who don't, right?
Right.
And for those of us that have experience with previous Chris Roberts games, we know that sometimes there's portions of the story that he's telling. There's portions of the story that he's telling that is a long form portion of the story, right? So there was a longer you had to play multiple games to truly understand the Kilrathi, right? In the Wing Commander series, right?
Right.
I imagine that the story of the Xi'an and the Spirit Wars and who the Kurthak are will be revealed probably not in the Persistent Universe, but across the ostensible trilogy that will be the Squadron 42 games. So I imagine episodes 1, 2, and 3 that will play a role.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And answer some of the questions that Admiral Kusanagi raised, which is, what are the Spirit Wars? What do the Xi'an really know? Are they playing us as a race that they want to stick in the middle of that as protection? Are they a race that is driving the Vanduul and then thus the Vanduul, all of that stuff.
Right.
So I imagine that the Squadron 42 trilogy of games that we hope to get will explore those issues.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious to, like you said, the fact that they left that open is a good signal, right? Instead of designating what each race was right from the very beginning, they've got 3 out there that we know of, and this or 4, and then you've got this one that we know absolutely nothing about, right? That allows them to have some breathing room to create something, and I'm hoping that does become an aspect of exploration, right? That in some way or other, and I don't mean just exploration in the sense of stumbling across them, but there could be exploration of who they are from an archaeological standpoint, hints that are in the game that lend us to what this whole thing is between them and the Xi'an. And I'm just hoping that there's as you mentioned, something that just unfolds. And you mentioned a really good point about the fact that could this be unfolding as parts of the chapters of Squadron 42 go, so that the persistent universe kind of moves in parallel in some form to what's being revealed to us in the games as they come out. That would be great to me. Something first of all to look forward to. Secondly, there can be all these great little, breadcrumbs and tidbits that happen between those series of games that starts to lead us towards some things that could actually happen in the future.
And to your point, the exploration piece could also be archaeological or xenological, right?
Right.
We already know about the Hadesians from Hades, right? It's our understanding that they were roundish with the bulky central body and thin appendages. They could get as tall as 8 feet tall. Right. But they don't exist anymore. So I would love, to your point, to be in game in the PU and go somewhere and find a cave that hasn't been found before and discover some remains of some race that had come and gone. That type of thing.
Right. By the way, again, thank you guys for being here. We have raised thus far. We are in our third hour. We have about 5 minutes left before we're going to reach the third hour here. We are now at $780. You guys are amazing. I was about to say we need to close out that $750, and you guys did it. Thank you so much. You guys we are so close to our $1,000 mark in this last hour, and you guys have just been amazing. So thank you. In fact, I just noticed that Buster is here. Buster was working today, and I don't know if she's at work or what, but she is sitting in the chat. So Buster, we love you, and we're hoping that this is a sign of gesture, let you know how important you are to the Star Citizen community. I was going to say something to you else real quick about the aliens before I bring Stunner in. We were talking about the unfolding in the chapters, blah 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 blah. Okay.
Stunner is my favorite alien. So go ahead and bring him in. I'll get out of here.
All right, I'll bring Stunner in. Okay. All right. Thanks, Cap. All right. Stunner, let's get you in here, and we'll get Cap out of here. Boom. All right, there we go. You there, Stunner?
I am, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in here. Hour 3, going on the 4th one.
I was trying to think of how to introduce myself as an alien. I couldn't come up with anything.
That's okay.
You guys started to touch on it a little bit, but my kind of biggest interest in like the aliens and Star Citizen, I mean, obviously the same interest everybody else has, but is how it'll impact the story as we go along. Like, there's been some little hints out there by CIG and some things they might want to do, but I'm really hoping that some of the things they talked about or CaptainSeriousFun's video there, like let's say like one of the examples that's out there already is like with the Tavarans, like maybe we'll find the holdouts, the ones that did integrate with the UEE, and we might actually as players decide whether we go to war with them again or we do fully integrate them or we destroy them. But I think for the other stuff too, like with the Kurthok and the Xi'an, what would be neat is if down the road, obviously, if we as players got the ability to like make those decisions, and if we do piss off the Xi'an, maybe that changes all the and if Star Citizen gets as big with as many systems as they want to do, and that changes like the control and the rep you need for all those systems, because now we have a different relationship with the Xi'an. So I think that would be one of the neatest things with aliens from a gameplay perspective as the game goes on, almost like a create our own adventure in the universe kind of thing.
Yeah, I think something that Captain said earlier, he talked about how cool it would be to actually be sitting at the table, at CIG coming up with this stuff. You know what I mean? I would love it. I would love it. I would love it. I really would. I mean, because the possibilities are there. And I'm curious. I don't know. Did you ever see, do you remember the movie The Blob?
Yeah.
Okay. a totally unexpected kind of alien, right? That had some form of intelligence to it, right? And we didn't ever communicate with it. But the blob was something that came from outer space. Now, some people might say, I don't know what the blob was. That's why they called it the blob, right? I don't know what the thing was. The movie that I've hailed all the time, I'm always telling people if they've never seen it to see, is Forbidden Planet. And one of the reasons why is when in Forbidden Planet, there's a part where Dr. Morbius is talking about the race that was there beforehand, that they had been there for tens of thousands of centuries or whatever. But one of the things that's interesting is he gives them a tour of where they live. These aliens lived in their laboratory. And one of the first things that was so striking was that they had a door that was triangular in shape. Now, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but he was he was like a linguist. I forget what he was. But anyway, his point was that the forms that were around them gave clues to what type of people their physical build may have been like, right? And so the possibility, normally we think of something, we just sort of think of a square door, right? A rectangular door. And one of the problems I have with alien design ships in our game right now is that we'll call them alien, but like if I get in a Banu Defender, I don't feel like a Banu's flying it. I just feel like it's a human version of a Banu ship, right? I don't feel like it's an alien ship. Now, don't get me wrong, it's alien because of their manufacture. I get that. But I'm curious about, do we have to keep things within a certain construct in order for us to be able to work within that world? In other words, I can't fly a true Banu ship. It's not designed physically for me, right? So we have to make the Banu Merchantman a ship that is human sized and human scale to operate on. The ceilings are not going to be 15 feet high or 12 feet high. They're going to be 9 feet or 8 feet high because of human physicality. Some people want that level of alienness in the game. They want to even be able to play as an alien, which I think it's a cool sounding idea. But I think that the problem is that in order to, you can either be cosmetically an alien or you can be an alien. And I think more people want to be just cosmetically an alien. Does that make sense? They want to look like an alien.
Yeah.
But like when you're playing D&D, like in D&D, when you say I want to be a orc, you're not just acting like a human orc. You're supposed to be taking on the traits of what an orc is, right? But in Star Citizen, I don't know if players would. That's role play, and there are a lot of people who don't want to role play in Star Citizen. They don't, They have to take a role play test before they're allowed to be an alien. Yeah, they'd be a turtle, a Xion walking around, but still eating a Whammer burger. You know what I mean? They're not going to really be an alien. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, do you first of all, do you think that we should get alien ships? I mean, real alien ships, like let's say there's an NPC alien ship out there. Should we be able to get those ships?
Yeah, I definitely think we should get them in the game. I don't think we should get them to.
That's what I mean. In game. You're not to buy.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. You don't think we should be? I'm talking about like NPC. Like I'm talking about take over. Do you think we should be able to? Like if I see a Xion freighter, should I be able to pirate that thing? Now, mind you, pirating it is okay as far as taking stuff. I mean, but should I be able to take it? Like, here's my Xion freighter. You know what I mean? Or do you think it should just be no physicality of the ship does not allow you to fly it, but you can do the pirating on it. You can take whatever they have on it.
Right. I think you should be able to pirate it and salvage it. I think you should be able to like tow it. I think you should be able to, with a lot of time and effort, maybe be able to, like they're talking about us being able to collect the materials and over a lot of time and money, be able to like build our own Idris.
Yeah.
I think we should be able to convert it to be able to be used by us. But no, like you said, I'd really like to see, like as we do exploration, we find the actual like Xion ships or Banu ships that are made for them, and we actually get to see how physically different they are, and the fact that we could never like just jump in one and fly one without the conversions that we see. I really want them to fully stick with, and this is just my personal take, but on the whole, these are alien ships made for humans thing. Like I don't really want us to have like be able to buy an actual Banu ship, but yeah, all the stuff we talked about, like if you find one, pirate it, salvage it, maybe even be able to convert it to human use over time.
It would be cool that when we do pirate that alien ship, one of the reasons why we may want to, whoever it is, maybe it's because there's some resources that we know they carry that we don't have access to, right? Or that if in order to get access, we'd have to be in their space, which may be a difficulty. But if we happen to catch them while they're trading, right, they create some, some mineral called menoronite or something like that, right? But, if you luck up and get that ship, and menoronite's worth a ton of money, you know what I mean? Because we don't have it where we are, but it's something that they have there. That would be kind of an interesting reason for pirating those type of ships too. Yeah, we can go down the whole pipeline of remodeling ships and manufacturing. CIG still blows my mind when they start talking about us building ships. My brain hasn't gone there yet still. I'm like, yeah, that's where my cynicism comes. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll see. That's where I am on that one. But yeah,
to your point though, like an easy thing they've kind of talked about, I say easy and I shouldn't say that, but I mean something maybe they could do, on the lower end would be, we know they're going to have lots of different types of containers coming in for transporting different types of items. And like you said, maybe the Badu have like special cargo crates for a special type of cargo that unless you pretty much get it from one of their ships, that's the only way you can get your hands on it.
It'd be very cool. It would be very cool. Okay, Stunner, thank you much for dropping in, bro.
Take care.
All righty. Hey, all right, let's see where we are standing now. How are we doing? $780. We are $220 away from finally hitting our mark. We have exactly 56 minutes left in the hour, 56 minutes to reach our goal. And I think we can do it. We can do that $1,000 today or more. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for all that you guys done today and hanging out with us today. We are going to watch, do I have a commercial break? I'm not going to do a commercial because we're having such a great time. I'm going to go into one more, you know what, let's do this Machinima first, and then we're going to do a video, and then we're going to wrap it up. How's that sound? Let's do the Machinima, then a video, and then we're going to wrap it up. All right, and that'll be right around the top of the hour when we get there. So that gives us 55 minutes now, 55 minutes left, okay? So let's take a look at this next Machinima. Think you'll enjoy it? Talking about things in the future, things that are coming up. And then we'll be right back, okay?
Pyro. Isn't it something else? The gorgeous landscapes and the breathtaking atmosphere. It inspired me to write a poem. Roses are red. Violets are blue. And if you come to Pyro, there's nobody here to save you. Take the heat. Stay the fucking Stanton. Guess no breaks now. Guess no breaks now.
Alrighty. That was the Welcome to Pyro video. Hopefully that woke you guys up. I think that that was definitely a very, very cool video. Welcome to Pyro. Hey, can't hang in Pyro, don't go there. That's basically what they said. All right. We are getting ready. We got a couple more guests that are on their way that are going to join us in a few minutes. And so what I want to do first, let me turn this off. Let me make sure I turn off the right thing here because I'll be done push the wrong button again. Oh, that one? Yep, that's it there. All right. We're in our final hour here, our final 52 minutes, something like that. Yeah, 52 minutes. Where once again, we are here today raising some money to assist our good friend Buster the Destroyer, who has been working but not being paid for about a month, and things are getting a little tough. So we want to be able to just extend away a gesture of love to her to say, hey, here's some ways we can help you as a community help you get over this hump right now that you're going through. We all go through things, and so that's why we're here today, hanging out for 4 hours on this special edition of Soul Voices. And thank you for those of you who have given so far, those of you who hung out and just been in chat with us today, giving the moral support, really appreciate it. And again, thank you guys for being here on behalf of Buster. Let's get ready to jump into this video. Boy, my ring thing is going off like crazy. It's driving me nuts. Let me give you a little bit of background here. The Soul Citizens just recently, very recently, started a new series called The Producers. And we did our first video last week for our members, and it went out public on this Friday. And this is a show that we're doing specifically to address different topics that interest us as the producers of Soul Citizens, where we're having a conversation with ourselves, similar to our Sunday show, but this one is a little bit more in depth on a particular focus and topic. And so this is the very first episode of that, and I wanted to show it to you guys because I wanted to kind of bring this topic up because it's been something that has been on my head. Some of you who've been watching me since August of last year hadn't heard me talking about this a little bit, but I was able to bounce some of this off of my two good friends, Fastcart and CaptainSeriousFun. So you're going to see the three of us having this conversation. And then I would love to see what you guys think about the conversation. Love to hear your thoughts. And hopefully by the time we get to that, we'll have some, our guests will be here. I know they're on their way, and we're going to get them into Discord and on video in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and kick this video off. And as they come out, get them situated in, and then we're going to talk with them afterward, get their feelings, and also hear from you guys. Okay, so here we go. Where is it? Hey there, greetings everybody. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and I'm joined today with two of the co-producers of the Soul Citizens for a new program that we're starting called The Producers. Yeah, the producers are here to do producing, and we're going to produce hopefully some productive conversations from a producer standpoint. I'm here today with CaptainSeriousfun and Fastcart. How you guys doing?
It's a blessing to be here. How's it going?
Good, good, good.
I don't know if I'm going to be very, that word that you use, that probably doesn't describe me, but yeah, I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
Yeah, you'll produce something. You'll produce a couple of good jokes, if nothing else. So, all right. Listen, for those of you who know about this, we announced that we're going to be doing these new shows that are going to be sometime during the beginning of each month, where we will come together and talk about subjects that we think are relative to the community, the Star Citizen community, and it might be some other topics too, but we hope that we'll be able to give you some insight on us, why we do what we do here at Soul Citizens, and hopefully you'll enjoy these conversations. So we're going to kind of just jump right into this. The subject that I wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit was this idea about our community, right? About the Star Citizen community. And I wanted to open up by showing you guys a trailer from a documentary that came out several years ago. Let me just change over to that real quick so you can kind of get an idea of it. It was called The People versus George Lucas. CaptainSeriousFun, were you familiar with this documentary at all? Had you ever seen it?
Yeah, I have seen it. I did see it I actually saw it after you recommended it.
Oh, okay.
So
well,
yeah. So
wow. The power of my words. Okay. I'm glad you got a chance to see it. FC, had you heard of it or seen it? The power.
I've heard of it, and I heard of it when it first came out. I never took the opportunity to watch it because it's like I can kind of guess where it's going, but I may give it a watch after this video sometime.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah. When I saw this, I was kind of thrown by it because I was like, the people versus George Lucas. What's going on with that? But then I started thinking about, in retrospect, there was a period of time when Star Wars fans were kind of throwing a little shade in the direction of George Lucas. And this documentary kind of highlights that. So we're going to show you guys a trailer just real quick. It's only a few minutes long. I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes long. And then we're going to kind of come back and talk about it a little bit. So let me go ahead and run this for you guys.
I owe George a lot. Not in a legal sense.
George appeals to the child in everybody.
That guy unlocked a generation's imagination.
I don't really get that, man.
I imagine George in a crystal castle drinking margaritas, lying on a bed made of people.
A lot of people view George Lucas as the Antichrist.
George Lucas raped our childhood. George Lucas raped our childhood. George Lucas raped our childhood.
جورج لوكاس هو شيطان صغير جاء في ثوب ملك.
He's like the evil genius of marketing.
Return of the Jedi was the beginning of merchandising, and then the whole thing became super commercial from then onwards.
He's just throwing stuff out and we're going, more. Come on, George. More. I'm a bit disappointed. Episode 1 just stinks. Remember Jar Jar Binks.
I mean, how can you not feel bad? Have people who love you and worship you as a god like turn against you as if you're some sort of fallen angel.
You know, has he fulfilled his destiny or has he destroyed his legacy?
I think when you get specialists who are absolute devotees, you're wide open to criticism.
Le fait de haïr autant les nouveaux films est une preuve très grande de l'amour qu'on leur porte.
George has said many times to me and to many other people that Star Wars was a bit of a curse.
He had a pile of scripts that he would show me, would never let me read them. And he would say, these are the movies I'm going to make. None of those movies have been made.
There's a lot of pressure on George Lucas to make these because they're business ventures.
Star Wars is my story, just like my house is, my house. So if I want to paint my house green, even if everyone else thinks it should be red, guess what? I'm going to paint it Jar Jar.
People hate Jar Jar Binks. They hate him now. People are going to be looking at these films in 50 years, in 100 years. They're going to hate him too.
When we're in retirement homes arguing about things, we'll be having a conversation about what went wrong with the Phantom Menace.
If he wants to fix something, go back and redo Howard the Duck.
I saw George Lucas, I'd give him a big hug and say thank you.
I hate even saying things like I just said because it sounds like I'm being mean to Lucas, and I love him.
Cut the man some slack. He's people, man. That's George. That's George.
I don't think he's raped anyone's childhood, frankly. That's a little over dramatic, isn't it?
Mr. Lucas, sir, we the fans, the true fans of your franchise, salute you.
So, I wanted to show you guys that because I've done this before when we've talked on our Saturday show about parallels that I've seen with the production of Star Wars, George Lucas, and also Chris Roberts. But I want to focus in on this a little bit. As you guys know, I grew up on the original Star Wars franchise, right? Episodes 4, 5, and 6. I think you guys did too.
Yes.
Yeah. But were you guys when you heard that there was going to be a 1, 2, and 3, or at least a 1, right? Phantom Menace was going to come out 20 years later. Lucas is going to do it again. FC, let me start with you. Were you excited? Were you curious about it? Were you like, what were your feelings about when you heard he was going to make this Phantom Menace film?
Well, it came out right after the special edition came out, so I thought that was good marketing on their end. But they had changed the special edition to make it more up to date, to more true to the vision. So I thought, okay, the 1, 2, and 3. I was more excited, hopeful. Once again, they managed to finish the original the prequel trilogy, I was actually more excited for 7, 8, 9 to come out after that because I was looking forward to the continuation of the story more so than the prequel story. But I was looking forward to both.
Okay. Captain Serious, what about you when you heard about Phantom Menace? Lucas, all these years goes by, we don't hear from him. He's been doing stuff, but he's going to return back to the Star Wars franchise. What were your feelings?
Yeah, I like Fast Cart, you became aware of it first through the lens of the special editions, right? Mm-hmm. And what was interesting about them was I had immediately heard that they were controversial, right? But once I heard that they hadn't changed anything fundamental, I chose not to watch those, right? Because I didn't need anything to subvert what people were talking about there in the trailer was my childhood experience, right? I didn't need anything to subvert that. So because I had kept that pristine, I was super excited about episode 1. So excited that at the Shops at Sunset Place, South Miami, in 1999 with my wife, 7 months pregnant, I made her go with me to stand in line and go with me to the midnight show. Right. That's how excited I was.
Now, did she want to go, or you literally said we going to this? What was it?
She was indifferent and pregnant, so probably on a number line, she was probably at a -1, not at a positive. But
I hope you made up for that soon after. Later on,
we've been married 25 years, and I'm still trying to make up.
Still paying for the 25th. And speaking of, this is the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace this weekend, right? So we're actually recording this during the May the 4th be with you in this return of the 5th day with you guys. So it's rather apropos that you would tell that story. Yeah, it was very interesting that the fans of Star Wars, one of the things about this documentary, and we won't tell you what it was all about, guys, we'll give you the basics, is the fact that the people began to feel that Star Wars was theirs, that it had become such a cultural phenomenon, and it had been embraced by the culture so much that to a certain degree, we had a certain level of ownership to it. And from the perspective of, if it wasn't for the fans, George couldn't do what he was going to do. The fund, the money, the merchandising, T-shirts, the supporting films, all these different things were going on. And so, as you mentioned, Cap, most of us were a little bit older, but there were people who literally grew up from childhood all the way through these franchises. And like my kids, they didn't come through episodes 4, 5, and 6. They came up during 1, 2, and 3. That was their Star Wars experience, which they embrace just as much as we embrace the older, 4, 5, and 6 episodes. It's very interesting though, and you mentioned something about this fast card about the remaking, the remastering, that George had always said that he didn't get to make the film he really wanted to do. And the big controversy that Captain mentioned was the fact that he went back and added and modified many of the scenes. He did some things to clean it up, because there were some things in there technically that were kind of funky. But in the age of digital stepping in, he was able to go things and make things more pristine, look better, and then also add some things like the Jabba scene that was in the film. In the first one, we never get to see Jabba. In his original script, though, we were supposed to meet Jabba at some point. He added that into the film in episode 4. So he wanted to do these things. And so there was this battle, right? It's his dream. It's his project. It's his vision. He wasn't satisfied with it. But then the fan base, who was dramatically impacted, embraced it, loved it, and said, leave it alone. Don't touch it, right? Leave it the way it is. Interesting place for him to be in, right? Interesting place for it to be in. Also interesting to see that nowadays, those episodes that people maybe didn't like so much when they first came out are also in some ways more welcomed and embraced by many people. Some people who didn't like Jar Jar at least tolerate Jar Jar now. Some people have grown to love Jar Jar now, right? So I want to shift the gear on this, guys, and see what this how does this connect to what our subject is, and that's this one: the backers versus Chris Roberts.
Right.
Because I see parallels. I see parallels as here's Chris Roberts, who had not been doing things for a while. He went off to do some other things after he'd done Wing Commander, but he comes back later and says, hey, technology's there. I can make the game that I've always wanted to make, right? We see the fundraising. There has to be funding that has to come in to support this. Some people trashed on George Lucas because of the level of merchandising, right? He was this guy's just milking the merchandise, but that same money he was able to take and make the films that he wanted to make without having to rely on the studio Hollywood industry, right? And he could produce those films the way he wanted. Chris Roberts goes and does this backing thing, right? Going out here and crowdfunding, and now he's able to make the game that he wants to make, right? So let me stop there and give you guys some opportunity to talk about, are you seeing any parallels, any concerns in relation to this, based on this project that we're in?
I'll start. One of the things that that comes to mind is the idea of a unicorn. A unicorn auteur, once in a lifetime, haven't seen it before, won't really see it again. A unicorn project. And as a result, unicorn culture, unicorn fans, unique, right? For Star Wars, whether it was the space opera experience, whether it was the pushing of tech, right? The pushing of technology and all the actual film craft that was brought to the table. whether it was the philosophy and ideas, right? In the Western cinema sense, we had never seen that before. And we really won't see that way again, because everything is sort of an echo now in the West when they try to do it, of Star Wars, right? And it produced a fandom that, like, to the point of the documentary and the trailer, felt a unique ownership and had a unique experience. Same thing is with Star Citizen, right? I make the argument in my own videos, right, that Star Citizen is a unique project in the history of gaming. It's doing something with tech heretofore unseen. It's funded in a non-publisher, unique crowdfunding model, the highest crowdfunded game of all time. And it's matched with the ambition of its creator, right? It's matched with the vision. And that unique project has produced a unique fandom with a unique relationship to the product, right? Now, what's interesting about George Lucas is that when you look at things like Star Wars, you'd imagine that would sort of be something that was handed down to the rest of his family to care for, like Tolkien handed down Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings IP, so that his family could caretake for it as it, manifests in other forms. He sold it away, right? And I thought that was instructive in that, you heard in the trailer that he has told people that it wasn't all a blessing. That some of this was a curse. And apparently it was enough of a curse to take $4 billion and go do other stuff. He didn't keep the property in the family. Right.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good point.
Card, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. No, I was going to say that it's been stated that George Lucas made the prequel films 1, 2, and 3 for his kids. Chris Roberts is making the game, Star Citizen and Squadron 42, the games, I should say, for himself. In the opening video, he said that I want to make a game to his vision. I'm paraphrasing. His magnum opus, per se. But game journalists express concern that the players aren't liking the direction that the game is going. But, I don't know, game journalists seem to ignore or forget or just straight up don't care that Chris Roberts said, no, he's making this game for himself. So I can see parallels between Chris Roberts and George Lucas that way. In the trailer, someone said, why did George Lucas just go back and remake Howard the Duck? Chris Roberts can go back and remake Wing Commander movie, So there's another parallel in that. I think some people would prefer him to do that than create or finish Star Citizen, right?
Yeah. No, it is an interesting parallel. Those are great points you mentioned, FC. The feeling of ownership, some people would use the word entitlement, is very interesting when you watch the Star Wars fans. And I think it's also something that we can kind of see happening even within the Star Citizen community. And I think it's interesting because we don't know what the future is going to hold. But what I do want to reflect is that 25 years later, many people have a different feeling about George's maneuver to do what he did. One of the things that I was told that George Lucas, when he saw episode 7, 8, and 9, was when he got through watching it, his comment to the folks at Disney was, where is the innovation? Right? Every film that he did, you think about it, was about him not only making another film, but it was about taking filmmaking to another level, not just in story, but on the technical. It was the whole enchilada, right? And what he was seeing was technologies that weren't advancing both story and movie making itself, right? And that takes time and effort to do. And I think that even with Star Citizen, the impression that we're given is that CIG is trying to do that. They're not just trying to produce another movie, right? Another game, but they are trying to, in parallel, together, advance both gaming technology, gameplay, as well as making a great story and everything else that goes along with it. And that can be a difficult thing. But I kind of saw these parallels that were in here. We're not going to go very much longer than this, but I did see these parallels. And I guess I'm wondering whether or not you guys think that 5 years down the line, 3 years from now, whenever, let's just say when 1.0 comes out, right? Or let's just say after Squadron has been out for a while, do you think that people will look back, just like how they look back now on the Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3? Do you think people will look back and say, "Hey, maybe it wasn't so bad after all"? Maybe this guy knew what he was doing. What do you guys think?
That is tough to say because I'm in the middle of it right now, so it's helping me to project in the future. What I will say is that I'm hoping that they're supposed to release the making of for Squadron for the two-star citizen. So I'm interested in what people will say in reaction to that, because I think those will open a lot of people's eyes as to what game development is like. Because we've been watching it for over a decade, some of us. And so I don't know how long they will make those making of videos. I'm hoping it'll be over 2 hours. I'm hoping it'll be more like 6 hours.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for something extensive. So I think I think when those come out, it'll be telling.
Right.
Yeah. For me, I look at it as, and I hope others can see this as an opportunity to enjoy both the journey and the destination, so that when we get to the destination, it's just another jumping off point, right? For the next phase in the journey. For some folks, they're like, they're looking at this in a very binary way, right? There's a beginning and there's an end, and that's it.
Yeah.
But for me, this has been an opportunity to build out culture in that sociological sense, new daily ways of life. I do new things on this journey that I did not do before it existed, right? Yeah. And as a result of that, I'm enjoying the journey, right? And so then when we get to 1.0, for me, that's another place to then pivot. And then now what's the journey look like? What's the next step? What's the experience going to be with other people? What's the culture going to be? How are we going to engage on that? There is a material difference between saying that you're in development and putting out a product for a retail price that you're saying is playable, right? And one of the things that is very different from Star Wars is that we are involved as this thing goes from everybody's ideas and trying to figure out what Chris's vision is down into the frame of actually delivering something.
Yeah.
Right? Where we may get an announcement on Star Wars and then we wait and then we wait and then the film arrives, right?
Right.
And they're doing all of that right behind the scenes, but we're not in it, right? So this gives us an additional dimension, an additional level that we don't get with the filmmaking process.
It gives an additional level of craziness too, by the way.
Well, I'll go back to the unicorn, right? The unicorn myth. The unicorn myth is either the stuff in the horn either purifies stuff that's poisoned or poison stuff that's purified, right? Yeah. And our communities can go either way on that.
Good point. Very good point to close on. I do want to mention one other thing. It was interesting that some people considered George Lucas an angel and some people thought he was the devil.
Right.
And we have the same thing with Chris Roberts. There are some people who think this guy's he's doing the greatest thing ever, and other folks are like, this guy's just ripping you off. We've got that same
just
kind of
ask
thing
George
going,
Lucas' wife. Just ask Chris Roberts' wife. They just George and Chris. That's all.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Well, listen, I do want to make a recommendation to you guys. We're going to wrap this up. Make a recommendation that you guys check out a documentary. If you have access to Disney Plus, there's a great documentary called Light and Magic. And it does the history of industrial light and magic, but it also talks about, and the reason why I'm saying this is you'll see some great parallels to Cloud Imperium Games. So if you get a chance, take a look at it. It's a really, really good, I think it's a 6-part documentary, very well done. Great insight from when this whole thing started to where ILM now is today, Industrial Light and Magic is today. By the way, we're going to be sending this video out to the community as well, but you guys to get the first solid week of enjoying this to yourselves, but hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you can look forward to more of these videos that we'll be producing by the producers of Soul Citizens. Special thanks to CaptainSeriousSFun and Fast Card for being here with me. Thanks, guys. Great insight. And as always, we're going to say to you guys, Cap, you kick us off.
Peace,
love,
and soul. Take care, guys. Okay, well, we are joined by two other friends of ours, Maiden, Ariana, and StimCitizen from Yacht Club. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty well.
Good.
Yeah, doing well. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay. Thank you guys for being here and joining us for our Rally for Buster, Star Citizen's Klingon Beacon. Buster has been on the Yacht Club many, many times, and they are definitely friends of hers, and we truly appreciate you guys being here to help us close out our last 27 minutes. We are at, let me hit the number real quick to make sure. We are at $830, guys, and we are just, was it $170 away from reaching our target. So we know that you guys can help us reach that $1,000 mark for Buster. We are so close, but we're happy for what we have right now. Believe me, you guys have done an amazing job in less than 4 hours to help out someone from the community. So thank you for that. And we hope that by the time we get through with this little chat we'll have, when we sign off, we will be at or above that $1,000 mark. So thank you guys so much for that. Ariana and Stim, thank you guys for being here again. As you guys saw, I know you guys came, I'm glad because you guys came in right at the beginning of the video. You got to see a little bit of what was being said there. And this was kind of a fun show that we had. And by the way, our chat is open. If you guys want to come in and talk with us, with Ariana and Stim and myself on this subject, we would love to hear what you guys think about what we shared in that video. But I want to reach out to them right now. And since Ariana was here first and she's in the middle and she's next to me, I'm going to start with her if she had any thoughts about what we talked about there.
Well, I think, and again, I always age myself by talking about these things, but Star Wars, the original movie, was literally the first movie I ever saw in the theater, and I was a toddler, but I saw it, and so it influenced me right off the bat. And you would think I was too young to actually remember it, but I did. Like I remembered it. It got ingrained in my brain, and I grew up with the entire series of movies. And they always kind of had a summer release, and Return of the Jedi was coming out on my birthday, or no, sorry, Empire Strikes Back was coming out on my birthday, and my dad and my siblings went and saw it without me because I got really sick that day, and I had to miss it. And my sister ruined the whole surprise of no spoilers here, of Darth Vader being Luke's father. My sister ruined that for me, so I didn't get to experience it firsthand. So that really, to this day, I'm still mad at her. So, but I just bring that up to make the point that, yeah, I just bring it up to make the point that if anyone thinks of it as something that they have like ownership over, I'd be a person that might have a right to have that because I grew up with it literally, and I don't understand that mentality because if you are a true fan, like that one guy in the video said, George Lucas, the true fans are very upset with him. If you're a true fan of something, you take it for what it is. You like the parts you like about it and everything else. I mean, I grew up reading Star Wars novels too. Like I read the entire Rogue Group series with Wedge Antilles. I freaking love that whole series. I wish Disney would pick that up and make that into a series. It would be so good.
Yep.
But when it comes to that mentality, it's you're the one having that mentality that's ruining it for yourself.
Yeah.
You aren't taking a positive look at what's being done. You're not opening your mind up to the storylines that are coming in. The original prequels are the prequels when they came out, and everyone harped on Jar Jar, but the storyline itself of the prequels I think is phenomenal. It's a really good story.
So
and
let me stop you there.
You can argue it's tropes, but let
me stop you there because you mentioned a good point, right? You just said that what you saw was a great storyline that was going to build on the Star Wars universe, right? But all people focused on was Jar Jar, right? I mean, that was they dealt with little Anakin was the issue, right? And the question is when we parallel this to Star Citizen, and it's funny because I had some people who actually commented in the video saying that these are two different things. The people with Star Citizen are backers, and the people with George Lucas was fans. And I'm like, no, it's the same thing. What are both people attributing? They're both saying they gave capital, referring to money and time, right? To build the financial building blocks to do the project. So do you think that Star Wars fans came to Star Wars with their own ideas of what they wanted Star Wars to be, just like how people come to Star Citizen with the ideas of what they want Star Citizen to be?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that's the crux of the problem, I guess, if you want to call it a problem. I wish people could, when it comes to movies, when it comes to media, when it comes to anything that is being presented to you by somebody else who's creating it, it's never going to be exactly how you would do it yourself. Never. No matter whether it aligns with what you thought was going to happen or not. It's never going to be exactly like you would have done it yourself. So why ruin it by focusing on the negative or focusing on certain aspects that, like, honestly, the last movie that was made, I was upset about the whole Palpatine being, the bloodline for Rey. Like, come on. Like, but it didn't ruin the whole thing for me. It's still Star Wars. It's still, there's still parts of that movie that were very well done and entertaining to watch. And I still own them all, even though, like, on Blu-ray, just because, I want to be able to enjoy them. And I don't know, when it comes to Star Citizen, it's kind of the same thing. We get to watch the evolution of it, almost like, my lifetime with Star Wars and seeing the evolution of it and what it is, and seeing now the Disney series. Andor is phenomenal. Like, there's gonna be a lot of good things that still come out of these franchises. But if you just focus on the negative, let your negativity breeds negativity. So it's that if I could try and help a Star Wars fan who was a lifelong fan, or even a Star Citizen fan who's been a part of their life fan at this point, it's
you
been
can
a long
almost say
time
lifelong
since,
fan at this point.
for certain, yeah, for our kids.
Yeah.
It's you take it for what it is, enjoy what you enjoy out of it, and just, I guess, I mean, your opinions matter.
Right.
Trying to help focus the team on certain things matters.
Right.
Issues matter. Getting the game to work correctly matters. But when it comes to bashing its creator because they did one thing you didn't agree with, that I don't understand, and I wish people would have some manners when it comes to that kind of thing.
And again, we're not saying there's anything wrong with being critical or critiquing. I don't think there's any challenges to that. I think this has more to do with certain attitudes that people have taken. And again, that's why we're kind of paralleling this to seeing how it's very similar. Now, Stim, personally, I think Maiden Ariana is just being a white knight. You bring us to reality, okay? We're consumers. We're consumers, and we paid for something, and we want it now. And we want it the way that we want to do it. I mean, that's what the real thing is about this, right? I've put my time and my money in, and this guy's on a freaking yacht drinking champagne out of somebody's lady's shoe. What's the deal here? You got to straighten Ariana out on this now. What's the deal on this now?
Right, Maiden, let me set you straight here now. No, you know what? I honestly have to agree with everything that Maiden said. The reason for that is, just like the parallel of a movie and a video game when it comes to the expectations that you have, right? So you have expectations for how the movie's going to go. Maybe you read the book before, maybe you're really into the fan fiction, and all of a sudden they do something that's different. And so now you have to have this cognitive dissonance between what happened and what you are emotionally tied to, and then the way the story's playing out in this way. And so sometimes we do things like we say, I suspend my disbelief or what have you. But if you're a core fan, that's something that you have really attached yourself to. So I don't know about anybody else, but the Wheel of Time series, the Robert Jordan series that was Brandon Sanderson completed, I love that book. That whole series, it was 14 books, 650 pages each minimum, an epic storyline, absolutely epic. And then Amazon Prime or Amazon finally picked up the story to play it, and it's so ridiculously woke, you know, that you've got this place outside of, like, it's untouched. It's in this place called the Two Rivers, and like taxation doesn't get there. Nobody gets there. And yet you've got people from all different diverse backgrounds that are completely different. And there's supposed to be this untouched thing. And you'd think it would be fully homogenized, right? Everybody would be kind of like very similar in the way it is. And I love the woke concept of it, but they took so many liberties the way that they did it. So, I mean, for example, Perrin, one of the main characters, has a wife right at the beginning. And, you know, if I was to get really upset about it being not the same as the book, I would totally have a bad time watching it. And so, you know, you can kind of take this back to Star Citizen, you know, to kind of land the plane is, you know, we're backers, and yes, we've paid, but really we're backing a project. We're investing in something that we really want to see become. And we should really just be happy that we're able to be part of it. And I agree as well with Maiden when she was saying the, you know, that voice, we should be talking, we should be giving our opinion, and the opinions are all valid, and they are. And I think CIG has a really good way of understanding. I mean, I think I've mentioned this like 5 times. We had Xylos, Tyler Witkin, on for probably one of the first times he was on, and he was just talking about how they're really good at taking the feedback, you know, however non-constructive or constructive that feedback is, and getting the good stuff out of that really makes sense in order to work the product management that they really need to, in order to improve the product, make it better for gamers. They're very, very good at doing that. So to kind of make a long story short, we have to be careful with our expectations, and also not be so mild in our personality that we're able to say, yeah, I like this, or this isn't going in the direction I like, trying to keep it positive from a critical standpoint, and just focus on getting a great product, great game that we all want to be part of.
Yeah. I present this to both of you guys when it comes to this idea of how Maiden said something a few seconds ago, which I think is important. There's nothing wrong with being hopeful about the game, because we see the possibilities of what Star Citizen could be, and so it's very easy for us to see the things and get excited and want to push forward. You know what I mean? And say, oh, when I get my so and so, I'm going to do so and so, right? But I want to go back to this thing that George Lucas had a vision of what he wanted to do, and Chris Roberts had a vision of what he wants to do, and maybe 80% of the time what we like to see is also what he'll like to see, but there may be that 10 or 20% that we may not like. You know, there may be something that finally ends up in the final product of this game that is just a total, as you mentioned, Stim, just goes a total different direction of what we say. Now, not to be funny, but in that Star Wars documentary, people talked about literally when the movies came out, they melted, sold, and got rid of all their lightsabers, Star Wars dolls, and everything, right? They just tossed it all away because they were just mad at Jar Jar. So they didn't just get rid of Phantom Menace stuff. They got rid of stuff from Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. You know,
I heard someone say that. You know, the Ewoks was the beginning of the end.
Yes, yeah. Yes, right. You know,
I love the Ewoks.
You know, and so I get it. Some people thought the Ewoks were silly. But I worry sometimes because I've heard players in Star Citizen and the community kind of feel the same way. I've literally heard people say, if they do this to my ship or they do this, I'm out of here. You know, and it's so early. It's still in the development process. And I try to encourage these people and bring them down from the cliff and say, hey, just give it some time. They'll get to it, you know. But, you know, I do worry. I do worry that if we're not careful, I've also looked at what's happened in Maiden. You were going this way a little bit earlier. There are certain franchises that Disney's not going to do anymore in the Star Wars line because the fans barked about it so much or didn't support it. So now you got nothing. Obi-Wan may not get renewed. Boba Fett may not get renewed. Now, they may have been funky, but they were also in their first seasons. We didn't even give their writers time to breathe. If you remember, go back and watch Star Trek: Next Generation. First season was blah. Second season was even blah.
Yeah.
They didn't build to the freaking third season. Star Wars fans have shut that stuff down so badly that that's it. We gave them no room. And I do worry about whether or not sometimes Star Citizen people can get so bad that we may hurt ourselves in the end. Maybe not. But I'm just going by what I've seen happen in history when fandom gets really strong. And maybe our voice isn't that big, but I've seen some stuff, man, written into the dev sometimes, and I'm like, man, I don't even know how these people keep working here, because it's just bad, So anyway, I'm going to wrap up on it. Listen, we have 12 minutes left. You folks have wonderful people. Have us now at 880. We are $120 away from our goal. 120, y'all.
Well done,
that's
well
less
done.
than an F7. That's 4 or 5 Mirai bites. We can do it. We can do it in the next 12 minutes. We can do it. All right. Because
if you've already given what you can, consider going to your org's Discord or send that link out on your own.
There you go.
Griffin, I don't know if you can paste
Yeah,
the
I'm
link
gonna
again, but I always
drop it
recommend
in
people to do
there.
that.
Yep, I'm gonna drop it in there. That
Get your
barcode
communities
is on
up.
the screen. Whoop, that's
Let them
that's
know.
just a letter. That's the wrong thing. Yeah, the barcode. I mean, the QR code. I'm saying barcode. That's just how old I am. Jesus, the QR code is on the screen. So yeah, you guys use it. You guys give me any thoughts here before we wrap up things, because we're going to be getting ready to wrap up things in the next few minutes.
I'll just comment a little bit on what you were saying there about like the complaints and whether the complaints effectively cancel the project, and I think that the vocal minority, they have a huge impact, but I think that we're at a turning point for Star Citizen where we're going to see a lot of people start coming in. We've already seen
Very
some
true.
bigger YouTubers jump onto it, and so the audience is going to be growing really, really quickly. And so I think that I don't want people really to change what they're putting out there, because this core group is so important for that development. But where CIG is going to be marketing to, and where the focus will be on community, will be at that larger stage. You see it in a lot of Kickstarters, and I think Star Citizen is one of the biggest ones of that. Is people say, oh yeah, concierge isn't what it used to be, in terms of chat and what have you, and things always change when you get more people in there. That dilution is happening, and it's going to affect us in a lot of ways, and it's one of the reasons why people turn over and some people stop streaming after a while. And now Griffin, you, myself, Maiden, like we're the old guard now when it comes to these things getting out there, and we're still here, and as
We need the subscriber store to have a cane. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Yeah.
We need to start putting classic and have that mean something and get behind it. I guess just to finish off on that one, the voice of the community is changing, and I think it's important that we maintain our voice as the older backers. I don't think things will get canceled, because I think they'll drown out. I think when things tend to get canceled is when it's either at the end of its maturation cycle, or it's in a down, things are going down a little bit, and then all of a sudden you get the naysayers coming in and saying too much or pushing too hard, and then there's the reaction towards it. But we're in such a growth cycle that you could say so many wrong things, and it'll happen. So I'm very curious, and I don't want to push the discussion over to like CitizenCon, but what it means with now 323 coming out, what the next packs will end up being, and as we start getting towards CitizenCon, what that means for Squadron 42, and then that development and the start of marketing potentially from CIG, and then the exposure that's going to happen. It's going to lift the cap off of Star Citizen, which has been either the best kept secret or that thing that people just go, oh but it's pay to win, and you're throwing money at a scam, and all of a sudden, the roof is going to come off it because there's an actual product coming out with a sale date that has an incredible demo, and all of these YouTubers that are just going to be showcasing it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I find it interesting, Maiden. You've been around for a little bit now. From the earlier days, there was so much, and I'm not saying this is. There's a minority, so it's not the majority of the players. So I don't want to come across that the majority of the players are negative. I don't want to do that at all. But I do want to say that in the early days, there was tremendous enthusiasm on one side, and there was still some skepticism and people wondering and curious and not sure, uncertainty. I get that. But in the early days, it was the media publications. It was the when they first heard Chris was announcing the game, but once he missed that first target date, man, they came in like locusts, and there were articles and questions, and it'll never come out.
Pieces.
It'll never come out. It's too ambitious. Blah 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 blah. And now it's almost like it's flipped a little bit. The media folks are kind of more quiet and in the middle somewhere. They don't want to commit completely, but they're not putting out all the hit pieces. But now it's the people who are over here. They're kind of some of them are kind of coming over here, and maybe it's just fatigue. Maybe it's just so much time has gone by, right? The hype and the anticipation has kind of gotten them to a certain place. I call it PTSD, to a certain degree where we are right now. And maybe we're suffering from that a little bit, But I do feel like we're on the crux of the new generation of things with 4.0 and everything. But I also feel like that also has made it very volatile within the community somewhat. There's still some cynicism a bit, even with what we've seen, even with 323 coming out, there's still a little bit of, I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to make it. So anyway, I'll put it on Maiden and then we're going to wrap it up after. We are at 880, y'all.
Yeah, I would say along with CitizenCon being such a huge success and generating so much good hype, then last night, that launch, I know there were issues with people being able to just get in and having some issues there. But if you tried long enough and you got in a server, it played really well. Like I was able to do close to a 5-hour stream on 323, and it was phenomenal. It played great. I didn't even have Vulkan set up because it required a restart, and I didn't want to get stuck in a queue or have an issue getting back in. So, and now I have Vulkan running, and I tried it again, and it's playing phenomenally well. So, kudos to CIG for a launch that seems to have been pretty darn successful. And when it comes to, the NPCs, the way they're behaving, and everything else, like a lot of those things you tend to see on each new patch. I didn't see a lot of them. I didn't see a lot of them rear their ugly head again. So I'm very encouraged by this particular launch, and there's so much to it. And right before Invictus, this is an exciting month. I think when I look at it, I'm really hopeful that, like you said, that it's the media opinion and the opinion of even the older backers who are upset might get swayed by this to come back and have that excitement again. At least I do. I mean, I never stop playing it. It's my main thing that I play. And I'm encouraged.
Okay.
I'm happy.
Awesome. Listen, you both have been, and I said guys earlier, please forgive me for saying guys, you both have been fabulous. Let me bring in a couple people. We got a couple folks who want to come in and talk with you guys while we're here. If that's okay, you got a minute? And we still have exactly 4 minutes to raise the additional $120 for Buster the Destroyer. You guys, 4 minutes, and we can do it. Let's bring in a good friend, an old timer here. Sub for Geo. Geo Get Money is dropping in with us today. Geo, you there?
Nice.
Geo, is he muted? Is he getting coffee? He might have stepped away. All right, we'll bring Geo back in a second. Let me get Admiral Kusanagi in, and then we'll bring Geo back. Admiral, you there?
Yes, sir. I am.
Hey, there he is.
I know I'm short on time, I was writing up a paragraph because I didn't think I was going to get in.
Oh, okay.
When we think of George Lucas, we think of ILM and what ILM has touched since Star Wars came out. So when we look at Chris Roberts and what he's creating for Squadron 42, we'll say that because he's making a trilogy, then that's his stepping stone into what will become gaming industry's usage of the Star Engine. And over that time frame of ILM just being used on, from there, then we went to, they did all of Star Trek, they did all of Harry Potter, they did all of the Marvel films. They went from Jar Jar Binks to all the dead pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. That's the scope of like what they changed. They did the Forrest Gump scenes when you looked at historical footage and Forrest Gump and and those historical parts that we had in that movie, from Hook to the T-1000.
He wasn't actually there?
Huh? What, Maiden?
I said, you mean he wasn't actually there in those scenes?
Yeah, well, I didn't say that. But it just blows you. It can blow you away, like how Star Wars has changed everything that we've experienced in our lifetimes and how we experience movies and experience TV shows. Like even like they did the digital LED displays as a virtual set known as Stagecraft for The Mandalorian. So from late 70s to like today, they're still creating stuff. They actually made Photoshop as a side. Two of the people that made Photoshop did it as a side project, but it was a summer fling that they decided to think up. And now people that I'm looking at here use Photoshop in their normal lives to help produce the show and everybody else watching the show. Like, so to think that Chris Roberts, we're like really, this could be like really game changing, maybe not just for us, but like for you, for kids and your grandkids and all that stuff. Who knows what we're going to get, but we're at the forefront of it. And I really hope Squadron 42 succeeds and Star Citizen, the MMO, can flourish beyond that. So that's all I have to say. I think we're really in a good place. These updates for 3.23, people are really enjoying them. Yes, there'll be bugs, there's testing and stuff like that, but we're on the ride, and whether we like it or not. But I thank you for your time, and if you want to comment to anybody, then please.
Thank you, Admiral. That's those are great, really good observations about maybe we as backers are maybe we're not seeing the whole picture. Sometimes we think that the transparency level we're at is 100%, but we don't know where Cloud Imperium. We know that Cloud Imperium is a company. It wants to survive, and we also know it wants to impact industries. And to his point, will Star Engine go beyond just us when it comes to Star Citizen? Will it be something that Cloud Imperium takes further? A quick comment from either of you guys. We got a couple more people waiting, but let me let you guys jump in on that. I keep saying guys, you both. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's a Midwestern thing.
It is, and that's exactly where I'm at. Sorry. Go ahead, Maiden. Any thoughts?
I guess just what Admiral had said with the impact it has over your life when people push the boundaries of something, and when you truly innovate. I mean, that's what CIG has been doing, and that may end up being one of the greatest things that they've done is to really innovate when it comes to not only the game engine, but the model by which they've done it. And other companies might start to emulate that and imagine having, other genres and other things come out that you have a say in to an extent.
Yeah.
Like we only have a say to an extent. I think companies out there who want to create something, or just someone who's a creative who has an incredible idea and might have the wherewithal to start something like this. I mean, sky's the limit if you get enough people behind you, and I think that's what they've proven more than anything. So
good point. Stim, anything, or we're going to bring in? You want me to bring somebody in, whichever one you want to do.
I'll just finish off very quickly saying that what Chris Roberts has done with mixing cinematics and video game based upon the history of these the Wing Commander series, Privateer, etc., and kind of brought that and done the spiritual successor. This is something that hasn't been done in the video gaming industry, in the way where it has backers and the community involvement. And there's so many great, from product management, I do a lot of product management, and there's so many amazing product management approaches that they've done to this. And I don't know, I don't want to call it like it is innovative, but it's really just standing on the shoulders of so many other different things that have been done in other industries, bringing it into the video game sector. And look, they've been able to grow 5 studios and evolve and create Star Engine. And, it might not have come together had they been completely knowing what the end goal would be, because it's evolved as it's come along.
Right.
But I wonder if this is the beginning, like Ari was saying, about whether or not we're going to see this as a groundbreaking way of video game development as we go forward. Anyway, I just wanted to lead with that.
Good, great points. Great points.
And I would actually amend my statement when I said sky's the limit, because I mean it's a universe simulator, so that's too limiting. I think sky's the limit.
So limiting.
Point well made. Let's see if Gio's here yet. I see his mic is muted and he still may be far away. So we're going to
wait.
There he is. There he is.
I hit the wrong mute. My bad. I tried to mute the stream. I hit my mic.
Hey Gio,
how y'all doing?
Good.
I'm good.
Good to
Okay.
hear from you, man.
So first thing, I got a quick critique on the producer show, Griffey.
Okay.
It's too damn short. I was trying to get my workout on before I knew it. I'm like, wait a minute, only 20 minutes. I want more. So I definitely like that show.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Second thing, I got to push back on you saying this is the same thing because people spent money on it. I would say this is completely different, because if George Lucas, if we were able to help back his vision on this movie and see him making ILM and Lucas films, and like, hey, if you guys want a part of this story, I'm making this, we'll back it. So that's where a lot of the people, I think, in the Star Citizen community get that entitlement and we helped make this thing because we were backing a vision. Yeah. George Lucas already had the vision. He had to go find funding and investors from big money, not actual people to make the movies. What we're seeing is, that's why there was another documentary with George Lucas, and it's kind of almost reminding me how what Chris Roberts is going through right now, trying to fund this, push the latest technology, and everyone was kept getting delayed, and people were saying Star Wars is going to become a scam, and the parallels are very crazy between George Lucas and Chris Roberts. Right. They're innovators, and I definitely both give them that. But because of George Lucas had investors and we were buying a product that was already made, I don't see where the Star Wars fans get very entitled, thinking it's theirs. As much as I hate the Disney trilogy, they bought it. They can do what they want with it. Yeah. All I can do is really critique it. Yeah. At least with the prequels and when George had it, like he said, he asked, where's the innovation at? He was innovating with the movie. Everyone cries the Jar Jar Binks. If we take Jar Jar out that movie, I think it'll be a real good movie. I mean, it's a good movie to me, but maybe when I was watching it at my 9-year-old eyes, Jar Jar didn't bother me that much as it did a grown adult. I can see an adult being real bothered by Jar Jar, but the whole time, if they would have let Lucas cook and Jar Jar would have been a Sith Lord.
Don't go down that theory. I know, don't go down that theory. I know, because it's a great theory. I know. I love that idea. That would have been the best flip in history, right next to Luke, I'm your father. That would have been the next best one right next to it.
Because it was a big goofy. We would have never saw it coming. Like, this goofy character, and then it would have switched it. I think, look at Yoda. If you look at Yoda, when Luke first met him, he was a very little goofy Yoda. And the next thing you know, Yoda's one of the biggest badasses in the universe. That's right. And we're like, wait a minute, this little guy?
That's right.
So I think that's where he was going with Jar Jar. He just kind of stretched it too long. Yeah. But those are my differences with.
And let me clarify, because I probably should clarify. I'm not saying it's identical. I'm saying there's some parallels. And the parallel is this: in the first movies, you're absolutely right. Lucas was funded through Fox and everything to get the film done, right? But when he came back to do the next films, he spent his money, and the people felt after they saw episodes 1, 2, and 3. That we have bought your t-shirts, spent money, bought your DVDs, VHSs, everything else. You are who you are, and you're making these films because of what we have given you. That's where the attitude of entitlement came from. There was a cultural entitlement to the fact that they didn't want them to mess with the first films, when he decided to do the remasters. But the fans actually felt like, hey, dude, we helped build your industry. We helped build ILM because of us spending money on you. And what we think Star Wars should be, you ain't going in that direction. And my parallel is that some Star Citizen people say, hey, we've backed and we've spent money to get you build your companies out, and you ain't going in the direction that we think you should go in. So that's where I'm saying similar parallels, not identical, but similar.
I can kind of see that,
Mhm.
but like I said, they bought finished merchandise products. We saw a Kickstarter video and said, hey, if this guy's making this game, because we're getting burnt out of these quote unquote AAA publishers, and what he's trying to do, he's actually trying to push the envelope in gaming. I want to back this and help support, make that. Like, that's how I always came into Star Citizen.
Yeah.
I didn't come in saying, hey, I want a full product. I want to back Chris and CIG because they're going outside of what anybody's doing right now, clearly, because no one wants to take the risk. But like I said, people, I don't get those Star Wars fans say, hey, I bought this thing, so I feel entitled. It was a finished product. So you could have chosen not to buy it or just watch the movies. You didn't have to buy the t-shirts and the toys and all that other stuff, which, by the way, I think that's even...
Well, you know, there'll be some people who say, oh, you should have bought a package. You shouldn't have bought of Idris. You know what I'm saying? So, you know...
I would agree, because they should have did their goddamn research. Just like me. Right. Because I sat back and watched the game, watched YouTube episodes of Star Citizen for years before.
Where you got in. I remember that.
Before I actually backed. And I didn't even have a computer before I backed. That's how much I believed in Chris Roberts. So if someone says that, yeah, it's your damn fault for buying the package and not researching the game. Because a lot of streamers and YouTubers will tell you, don't buy the game right now. It's not at a place where it should be. Well, I don't know how 323 is, but a lot of people will tell you, don't back right now if you're going to be waiting for a couple years.
Yeah.
Or you can be like me and say, hey, I want to back this project because I believe in it and I really want to, you know, see this vision get through.
Yeah.
And support. I don't look at it as, hey, I bought this ship and I'm entitled.
Okay.
That's your fault if you think like that, period.
All right, fair enough. All right, bro. Thanks. Hey, thanks for seeing you. And by the way, you need to get in 323. You're gonna love it, okay?
I'm gonna download this week. I got my dual stick set up.
You ready to roll?
Y'all get me through it next week and run me through some stuff so you see my reaction.
Anytime, bro. We'll talk to you. All right. Good to hear from Gio. Gio's an OG, y'all. Gio's been around a long time. This is our last person coming in, and this is going to be Sir Togi. He's always a great supporter. He was here earlier. You guys have done it. $1,020. We have hit our mark. Woo hoo hoo. Thank you guys so much for Buster. You guys have done it today. Thank you. You guys are wonderful. Togi, you are closing us out, my friend. What you got?
What up?
You got it.
So, the thing that I think is really striking, the thing that's strikingly similar between Star Citizen and Star Wars is how much they fall into the cult of personality trope.
Yeah, very true.
All right. I hate Star Wars. All right. Like, I despise every being of it. But I don't hate George Lucas. I don't think he's a bad director. I like the Indiana Jones movies.
Can I interject and ask why you don't like it? And I'm not asking in order to convince you to like it. I'm just curious as to your actual reasoning.
I had family that very much liked it. And it was basically used as a form of, I guess you could call it cultural torture for me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I get it. Yeah,
I get it.
You know, I thought it was mediocre, and then like, we're going to watch Star Wars. And I'm like, I don't want to watch Star Wars. Then you don't get to eat tonight. And I'm like, all right, I guess.
See, that's how I feel about the Beatles. Because that was so overplayed in my house by my parents. I don't like the Beatles. And, and when I say that, people are shocked.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel about the Who. So,
yeah, it was in my brain, and I didn't like it.
I understand.
I'm sorry. I know how important they were. I know that so much of music is thankful. Like, we can thank them for it, but still, I just
not your thing. That's a good point you mentioned, Togi, because there are some people didn't know who Chris Roberts was. In fact, we've had plenty of people who said, "I never heard of Chris Roberts." But there were a lot of people in the beginning who this is Chris Roberts. I mean, that was kind of a thing in the beginning, you know, for a lot of backers.
I vaguely knew what Wing Commander was.
Okay.
And then I started playing the game, and people are sitting there talking about Freelancer, and I'm like, yeah, I got a Freelancer. It's kind of ugly, but I like it. And they're like, oh, no, it's another game. And I'm like, oh, who made that?
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, Chris Roberts did. Who's Chris Roberts?
Yeah.
And I think that it's the real testament to whether or not you fit that trope is how much you can live past it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I hope that Star Citizen manages to do. You know, to not just give us a product that is designed for the fans of Wing Commander, and to move the goalpost of what video games can do forward.
Yeah. And
let's face it, they borrow from like every sci-fi genre that's popular that you can imagine in their ship designs and everything else. And I think it's intentional. I don't think it's they're not being original. I think they do it to evoke that emotion in people and to excite them about ships and about designs. And I mean, there's definitely a lot that's original that CIG does, but when it comes to incorporating, you know, the look of the snub fighter, like from Battlestar Galactica and things like that's in Star Citizen. Like if you are a huge fan of any type of sci-fi genre, you're going to see something in Star Citizen that you like. That evokes that emotion.
I think that he's talking about what you're talking about is inspiration, right? But I think that Togi's also saying, correct me if I'm wrong, Togi, and this is how I feel about it. I want the inspiration to be beyond what we as backers are seeing. You know,
Exactly.
there's a short.
I don't want him to get so wrapped up in people's expectations that he corners himself by saying, I've got to do things that make other people happy. Because sometimes you don't know what makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know, like the current TTK changes where they made the FPS TTK really long. I hated it at first. And then I played it and I'm like, oh, I get it. When I make a mistake, I don't die immediately. And when it takes an hour to do anything, that's an important thing.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that CIG, and this is a tough part, right? How do you keep the door open to hear your community, to respond to your community, and let your community feel they're being heard, but at the same time, the times when you need to stick to your guns for your vision, and you have to push through. Maybe every voice out there is telling you no, but you have to push through. And then there's still that gamble that if you push through, will it be accepted? I mean, I looked at the amount of heat that came from master modes, which I didn't understand because I've been around long enough to have gone through all these different iterations of the flight model. You know what I mean? It's like every time the flight model changes, we start hollering, right? So for me, it was like, okay, here we go again. But man, some of it was just the whatever that came up about. This is before we even had it in our hands. People were hollering about it, and CIG saying, we want to hear from you. Give us your opinion. Tell us what you think. Blah, blah, blah. And all I'm hearing is hollering. And I'm like, hey, they're asking for help. They're asking what you think. And it kind of threw me a little bit this time around. And maybe that's because a lot of those people weren't around back then. Maybe this is their first experience of the flight model. They've gotten used to that first one. So now this is their second one. And so for them, it was a big loop. But for those of you who are around for freaking hover mode, we can give you something to scream about. I mean,
I liked hover mode.
Yeah, I got used to hover mode. When it was right toward the end, I was like, oh, okay, I'm figuring this out. And then they changed it.
I was just like, oh my God, my ground vehicles aren't going to die immediately if people can't just aim down.
Yeah. All right, Togi, thanks. We got one more person we're going to bring in. This one we have to do. I know we're running a little bit over, but we have to bring this next person in, and unexpectedly, but we'll bring them in anyway. And it is the one and the only Buster the Destroyer. Hey, Buster. Hey. How are you?
Buster, good to see you.
Hey, I'm sitting in the car. There's like a festival outside playing a bunch of like really great Latin music. So pardon me if you hear.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to stop in before I go in to mix sound to like tell y'all just thank you for everything today.
Oh,
it really means a lot. So I've kept it together all day.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I know. Buster couldn't talk to me yesterday when I had a conversation with her. Before we do something like this, we always want to check with the person, and she didn't know what to say. Let's just say it. Let's just say that. So, but we want to send our love to you, and the community wants to send you love and just tell you that, we're here for you. We know things can be difficult. For those of us like me who pray, I'm praying that things get better and that life turns around for you and everything. And just hang in there. We're here with you, okay?
Well, thank you, and just everybody that helped today in any capacity. Like, just thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Please come by and see me. I'll do a tarot reading for you or something. we'll have fun. But it's just everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Yeah.
No problem.
I can't tell you how much it means to me. And obviously, like when I'm in the position one day, I'd like to pay it all forward in some way for somebody else if they're in need. So that kind of stuff.
Well, if we're in Montreal next year or Austin, just make sure you dress up as a hot dog again, and I think that'll be exciting enough for folks. Okay, you can do that.
That's more like paying back than paying forward.
If CitizenCon comes back to Texas, we're gonna have a different theme. We're gonna have more of a rodeo theme that time around with whatever I wear.
Fair enough. All right, Buster.
Home state pride.
There you go.
But thank y'all.
All right, you have a great evening. Okay, thanks for stopping in.
All right.
All righty.
Y'all have a good one.
You too. Take care, dear. All righty. All right, that was Buster. Okay, we are going to wrap it up. We are done with the day. Special thank you to everyone who stopped in. Tree0311 who came by earlier and hung out with me. Maiden, Ariana, StimCitizen, you guys are wonderful and awesome. Thank you guys for finding time at the last minute on a Saturday to come in and support Buster. And for everybody who came in and chatted with us today, we really, 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 truly, truly appreciate you. Don't think that we have forgotten about you. It was a 4-hour time. We had a break in the middle of the show where the internet went out or something crazy happened, but you guys came back. So thank you guys for being here with us. Real quick, let me close out things real fast. Tomorrow, there will be no Soul Citizen Sunday because it's Mother's Day, and we're going to be out celebrating with mothers tomorrow. So we got Sunday off, which is why it was good to do this show today. So hopefully we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week for our upcoming shows, especially with Invictus coming up. Aiden, Ariana, Stim, are you guys ready for Invictus? Yes? Are you spending money? Are you hiding your wallets? What are you going to do?
I've frozen all my credit cards.
You've frozen your credit cards?
I'm already banking some pulses for LTI tokens.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I wasn't going to buy anything, and I was like, that bike's going to be $35-40. Screw it. I saw $25. I was like, there you go. They got me. They got me. They got me. I hate to say it. They got me. So hopefully I can hold out till Alien Week. I'm not trying to do anything else this year. But anyway, we hope you guys enjoy Invictus launch week this week. Enjoy update 3.23. Be sure to get plenty of feedback and information, what you like, what you think could be better, all that good stuff. Let CIG know. It's going to be a busy, heavy weekend this weekend, but hopefully you guys will have some great gameplay in. And again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the support for Buster. And I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to send you guys over. Oh, I forgot. I got to do a raid. We're going to send you guys over. I don't know. Is Paul still on? Yeah, he's on right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. We're going to send you guys over to Paul Shelley, the Astro Pub. As you guys know, we do Podsat Saturday on Saturdays. This is when we kind of do this little thing within the community where we send you guys over to the Astro Pub for the captain's table. And then after that, later in the evening, we encourage you guys to check out the OGs of Star Citizen, the folks over at Relay. So check them out at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So when you get over to Paul's channel, let him know that you came over from the Soul Citizens as always. And you guys have a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe. And until next time we see you, as always, peace, love, and soul. Have a great weekend. See you soon. Ciao.
Everybody.